Tuesday, and welcome to Fight Club. Hi.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Fight Club for Business, the show for home service business owners looking to improve their marketing, finances, systems, and culture. We're a team of self-employed industry experts. And this week, our guest is Liam O'Day. And Liam, we're so happy to have you. Do you mind just giving our listeners a brief rundown of yourself and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Faye. Thanks, Michelle. It's really good to be here. Yeah, so I have a business called Shiny Sherpa, and we focus on writing copy that makes money for home service businesses exclusively. So when it comes to words and making money, that's what we do.
Ooh, I love it.
Awesome. Sorry, I apologize. Little dog barking in the background, so I had to mute myself for a second. Well, thank you, Liam. We're so excited to talk to you today about all things copy, because I know this is something that's come up a lot in actually all of our segments, different ways to talk about your employees, talk to your employees, marketing, finance-wise, even in systems as well. So thank you for joining us. And I think Megan's popping back on here. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Taylor Maroney. I co-own a power washing company in South Florida with my husband. And my background does come from marketing. So that was about 6-7 years in marketing before I really found my passion for helping business owners understand the numbers behind the marketing so they can make better business decisions with their budgets and their marketing campaigns. So super excited to be back on Fight Club with you all, and happy Tuesday.
Hello, Tuesday. My name is Megan Likes. I'm the founder of Bookkeeping Academy Online. I educate and empower small business owners to know their numbers so that they can live more financially rewarding lives. I also own a full service accounting firm called Likes Accounting Company, where you can outsource all those nasty accounting and bookkeeping tasks to me and my team. I own a window cleaning, gutter cleaning company with my husband, Jeff, and I'm excited to be back on this Tuesday. My internet's being funky, so it's going to calm down. Just give it a second.
And hey there, Liam. I'm Michelle Myers, co-owner of Pink Collars, and I am held accountable to my awesome team of admins that works all over the country. And then in addition to that, my husband and I own a floor coatings company. So I'm actually in the home services space as well in 2 different ways. And I'm excited to see you. And I will probably be Martha just for a second and introduce Martha, our missing compadre today. She's on vacation. And Martha's going to talk to you about people. And Megan and I and Tay will probably all just sort of take over and be Martha for today. So welcome, Liam. We're thrilled to meet you.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Well, I get to steal you first, Liam. So I feel like it's actually a really good fit. We're talking about copywriting. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about increasing sales, which is all the things that Shiny Sherpa really embodies, in my opinion. And I have to say, when I went on your website for the first time and saw your initial just hook, it got me. And I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. So if you guys haven't seen Shiny Sherpa's website, I'll actually read it verbatim to you right now. The hook on the front page is, it looks like the $99 guy wrote your follow-up. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with, why are follow-ups so important? Why is the copy and follow-up so important? And really, what sets the copy apart to not make you the $99 guy?
Thanks. Thank you, Tay. So I'm glad you like the website. It's always good to get that feedback. So first off, why are the follow-ups so important? So first off, that's the lowest hanging fruit for home service business owners. Those are people who've already said, hey, I'm interested in your service. I'm going to buy from somebody. And so the follow-up is the way to make sure that you're bringing them into your door so they're giving you the money. And I've been surprised when I started working with home service business owners how little follow-up they were doing, not because in some cases they weren't aware of the importance of it, but a lot of times they were so busy. Which thing do you prioritize? It kind of validates the business model, which we can get into later. But if anybody doesn't have your follow-up sequences in place, I'm here today to be a megaphone. Get that done, whether or not you buy from me or not. Get your follow-ups taken care of, because that is money you're leaving on the table. I can't tell you how many success stories my clients have had or even just like friends of mine in the industry they'll flat out tell me, hey, look, man, my copy kind of sucks. I'm just out there doing it, just following up, and clients are saying, hey, we chose you because of the follow-up. So that's my main message today. Get your follow-ups in place. Do it yourself if you have to. Buy from me if you have to. Whatever. Get that done. Now, but to your second question, Tay, about the copy itself, the follow-up sequence is really an opportunity to establish and build a relationship with the customer. I'm going to contrast this to a lot of what I've seen my clients do before they met me, and I think a lot of business owners are doing it now, is just following up on the quote, just a purely transactional, hey, just checking in, do you want to do business or not, kind of a message. And it's just kind of a lot of similar messaging along the way. And if you do it right, and I'm happy to go into like tangible examples if we want to, but if you do it right, you can set a fantastic expectation up front that we're going to build a partnership, and then your entire follow-up sequence is more of an ongoing conversation with that homeowner that's going to make them feel warm and fuzzy, but also you like let them know you're there to do business, right? Don't be afraid of asking for their business, but there's a way to go about it strategically, so you're timing the messaging right along that journey. Oh, does that make sense? Sometimes
Yes, and I absolutely love that we're kind of attacking this right away. That the point of your follow-ups, if you are doing them, if you're not doing them, please, that's your homework this week. Do some follow-ups, but we'll get to homework later on. But if the point of a follow-up is to build that relationship, right? We're building more trust, more understanding of who we are as a company and how we can help this client. We're not just there to say, hey, are you going to buy the service? Are you going to do this? Are you going to hit yes? Are you going to hit accept? I mean, that's where, again, as Liam said, it becomes very transactional. And clients don't want just the transactional side of things. Granted, we are moving to a point now where we're seeing marketing being a lot more just text message or live chat. And that's really where you're starting that sales process sometimes, because a lot of the millennials don't like to pick up the phone and call. So as we transition into those areas, it's important to make sure you have follow-ups in all those areas, which I've seen on the site, Liam, you have ways to communicate via text message versus email versus being able to just, have that in a automatic format without it seemingly looking automatic. So I do kind of want to talk a little bit about that structuring of that copy, because I think a lot of people, when it comes to sitting down to write a follow-up, it scares them. It's something that's intimidating. It might not be a strength to a business owner. Normally, when a business owner has to do their website, has to do other areas where copy is involved, that's all getting outsourced. When it comes to a follow-up process, you're really the first person I've been able to speak to that does have that process in place for purchasing. So in your experience, what really is the best structuring for, let's use the example of an email, because I feel a lot of business owners tend to go with an email first. That's kind of what they know and kind of trust first, but we'll kind of start with an email. And maybe if I have enough time, we'll jump into a text message as well.
No, fantastic. And I know my mic is a little off, so if it keeps up, I'll just take the AirPods out. And, I'm in a relatively quiet place, so just let me know. If you don't mind, Tay, I'm going to kind of even go one step before we actually start writing the email, and then we'll get into email and text.
That sounds perfect.
I think, okay, so before you even, my big recommendation, one of them, is before you start writing emails and texts, actually map out that journey, that follow-up. And there are mind mapping tools to do that. I love one called iThoughtsX. I don't get a commission or anything for saying that, so iThoughtsX is what I recommend. But if you map out the journey, that experience that you want to give them along the way, first, when you sit down to actually write the emails and the text, it becomes much easier because you've already planned it out. So let's just say somebody goes to your company's website, they request a quote. So do you do in-person or online quotes?
We do in person.
You do in person. So so I would start with, okay, in-person estimate, then you've got what estimate scheduled, estimate sent, and so on down that path to the job being completed. Map out for each of those phases when you're going to send a message, whether it's like, okay, immediately, 8 hours later, 24 hours later, day 3, and so on, whether it's an email or text. And then just put like a little like note to self that's like, this is the gist of the message, right? So obviously that first email, or maybe not obviously, but that first email should be a thank you for getting or requesting a quote. And we'll come back to actually maybe how you can structure that. Then send a text message. Hey, in case your inbox is busy, we text as well, right? Like just something that's just like a little gist of what you want to say in that message, and map all of that out. So you're not even having to like think about words so much yet. But you and the thing I'll encourage, I think I've observed this quite a bit. Like you as the business owner, you're the authority on the journey you want to give your customer. So I'll certainly give recommendations, but it's not like there's some magic book that says this is like exactly what you need to send and when. You can decide that, and you should be able to go into that with some confidence. So I just encourage folks, I know when you sit down to write follow-ups, it's like, there's that feeling, there can be that feeling of anxiety, and what do I say? There's not a right or wrong answer. Well, there is a wrong answer, and we can get into some of that. I should qualify.
Not doing them at all.
Yeah. Start with getting in the game, and then we can talk about some specific messages that will help. But my point is, your customer is not on the other end of their inbox or their phone, getting the text or the email, grading what you're writing. They're connecting with it or they're not connecting with it. So you want to, that's the gist, make it so they connect. So map everything out. And I don't know if I can share my screen. I'm happy to pull something up if that would even be helpful. But let me stop there before we get into actually structuring an email. But is that clear? Questions, concerns?
Yeah, so I just want to go ahead and reiterate it real quick because we'll actually just go through one email, and then I would love to be able to transition to Megan because I feel as though this is moving to be able to talk about money very quickly. So I'll let you kind of talk about the email in a second here, but it's very important what Liam just said. And if you are listening right now, make sure to take this note down because you are the driver of your customer journey. You're behind the wheel. You're making sure that your clients from point A of being able to find you online or see a truck or get a business card from you to the finishing of the sale and the job, that is the journey that you dictate. So being able to make sure that you're clear and concise and keeping that relationship firm throughout that entire journey is very important. And as Liam goes ahead and talks about an email here, make sure you're taking notes because this is absolute gold. This is ways for you to be able to start to implement a follow-up process today. Like this is something that you can start to do today and be able to build upon as the future progresses. So that way you do have that continuous relationship with your clients. So Liam, I'll let you take the stage and then we'll probably go ahead and pass to Megan because I definitely know money's coming up quickly.
Okay, thanks, Ted. So there are different techniques you can take with email and ways to structure based on where we are on that journey. But let's just talk about that first request for estimate email because you can use that to set the tone for the journey. So subject line, thank you, ... you're about to have a great experience or something to that effect, maybe make it a little more jazzy, but focus on you, like the customer, not we. And you'll see this as we go into the email. I think there's too much. We default to, we're so excited you asked for a quote. We can't wait to give you a great experience. And even though that's coming from a place of generosity and otherness, the way you're framing it is all about how you're feeling. But you want to make sure that they're just, so when you go to write the words, make sure you're focusing on you, the customer. So if we come back to this request for the estimate, hey, thanks, thanks so much for requesting a quote from so-and-so company. The great thing about doing an in-person quote, and you can just tweak this to be if you're doing online quotes as well, everybody. The great thing is about a quote is it gives us an opportunity to explore a partnership. So along the way as you're looking at your options, I'm going to be checking in to provide some information that'll be helpful to you. Check in to see what questions or concerns you have. Now I'm talking it through. The language itself would make much more succinct. But what you've just done when you've done that, you've thanked them, you've gotten them excited about working with you. You're about to have a great experience. You're about to have a shiny, bright home, yada, yada, yada. And then you've also set the expectation. You've given yourself permission to follow up. I know a lot of my clients have had like a fear of like being like the used car salesman. I don't want to bother them. But you've let
true. So many people have that. And you just have to give yourself the permission. Liam just lined it up for you. Give yourself the permission to follow up. I absolutely love this. I'm sorry. Keep on going.
Thank you. But you've done it in a way that it's about them, right? I'm gonna follow up to provide you helpful information to be there for you. And so now you've set that tone and let them know you're gonna check in. And you don't have now you've removed that like, oh my gosh, am I being a bother thing? Because it's like I told you from day one that I'm gonna follow up, right? And you're doing it from that place of generosity. So I would like start with that. And I think that opens up a lot of doors for what you're going to say and when along this customer journey. So I feel like I could go way down a rabbit hole and geek out on like all kinds of things here.
Oh my gosh.
But I don't,
Absolutely.
Okay. So we'll definitely geek out together, Dave, but yeah, go ahead.
We have to and what also Liam's doing as I wrap up for our segment is he's making marketing, sales, follow-up, warm, fuzzy about the customer. We're not slimy salesman people. We're here to provide for our business, to provide for our employees, to provide for our community, as Megan always says. And being able to do that involves selling jobs, involves making sure we're giving our clients the best customer journey they can absolutely have with our company. So by doing this process, it allows for these clients to know, like, and trust us on such a deeper level because we're focusing on them and focusing on their journey with their home and their property. So I really appreciate it, Liam. You gave so many amazing details in regards to how to properly start to set this up, as well as how to even start your first email, which is, if you've listened to this today, you've been able to get a very valuable piece of information to get the ball rolling for your follow-up process. So I'll let Megan kind of take over and talk about how we can really start making money off of this, because it's possible. There's more to these follow-ups that we can start bringing in the money on.
Yeah, the data nerd in me is like, okay, so tell me about the money of follow-up. Like, how many touches does it take for somebody to actually buy? How long should our follow-up sequences be? These are all rhetorical currently. So hold on, let me get on my like soapbox, because I think where I want to take you is like the money of our list. So I stayed up way too late last night because I'm in the middle of a launch writing emails, because I still write them myself. I feel like it needs to be my voice. It needs to be an extension of me. And it really doesn't take that long. Like, I can write about a month's worth of emails in 2 to 3 hours if you just sit down and you kind of give yourself a little bit of a framework. Like, okay, here's my theme. Josh Latimer, I know, a mutual friend of ours, he gave us this whole framework on Fight Club about like, do it by month, do it by week, do it by day, and then it's pretty easy to generate content. You get to choose. Because Martha's not here, we get to go a little bit long, which is nice. But not nice if she's not here. We miss her, obviously, but we can selfishly use her time. So we can talk about like the money of follow-ups, because I do think that not enough people are doing them. And there is a way that you can give us a framework for like how many and what does that look like? I actually think we should talk about that. The other one is, you and I had a private conversation about this, like the money that's in our list, right? Like, there's nobody really optimizing. We're all looking for that next sale. And the reality is we're sitting on this treasure trove with our existing clients that just want to hear from us more regularly, right? So we can talk about that, or we can talk about, I don't know, whatever you want to talk about. But those are my 2 topics. Maybe we should just hit both of them. Let's just do it. Why not? So
Okay,
first
let's hit those.
Yeah. So tell me an ideal, like you already gave the framework for how to communicate with our customers. So now tell me the framework for like somebody has reached out for a quote. How many times do we touch them until we give up?
So part of this, by the way, is going to be informed a little bit by systems. So
Okay.
there's some nuance there.
Like
So I'm first.
We're 21 minutes in yet, and we haven't said responsive yet. So I feel like that's shocking. Like, let's just shout at every responsive. Right. Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
Which is kind of a crime because responsive is really my whole entree into this world of home services. So, Kurt, I'm sorry.
That's how we met, Liam.
We love you, Kurt.
We love you.
But we all met at ResponsiCon in January.
Yes. I want to tell a story. Should I tell a story or should I answer your questions?
That depends. What's it about?
It's about emails and responsibility.
Yeah, perfect. Tell the story.
Okay, let's do it. I went to ResponsiCon to just do the hacking rooms for copy, and so that was, and this was really my big push into home services. And I went into this thinking, like I knew copy, I didn't necessarily know home services.
Wait, I have to pause you because I do feel like there is like a disservice to the listeners out there. If you don't know what responsive is, it's a sales system software that plugs in front of your CRM. None of us work for responsive. Well, Liam might work for responsive. I'm not sure, but none of us work for responsive, and we're not plugging it because we're getting paid. We're plugging it because we use it in our home service companies, and because it is a beautiful, beautiful, hard to explain software that basically can put your CRM on steroids because it gets in front of it. And they have an awesome conference called ResponsiCon, also not a plug for it, but we all hang out in Phoenix every January for ResponsiCon. And at ResponsiCon, it's the first conference that we've ever seen. First of all, it's completely designed for sales. So I have had a hard time getting to speak because Kurt doesn't think I know how to talk about sales because I still kind of hide under the table when I say the word sales. So yeah, it's a sales conference for home service businesses. That's the entire theme. And it's a conference where you don't just learn. So when you leave the conference, you should have implemented a bunch of stuff. And Kurt invests a lot of money in bringing in experts to help you get the doing done at these things called hacking rooms. So now that we've laid that framework, Liam was at ResponsiCon in January in a hacking room. And now I'm going to go track down links while you tell them your story. Sorry for the interruption.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. That was a good thing to add. So I'm doing a hacking room, but it's more of a presentation / hacking room. If you guys remember one of these theater rooms that we had, and I think I'm so generous and altruistic by empowering home service business owners and teaching them how to actually write an email that will convert, that will bring in business. Like, you guys can go do this on Monday and get back to the office, and we're going through an exercise. And halfway through, the room basically revolted, and they were like, "Liam, we don't want to go home and do this on Monday. We want to pay you to do it." And they hijacked my talk, my workshop, and spent 30 minutes brainstorming a business plan for me. And that became the impetus of Shiny Sherpa. Like, how do we solve this problem of not having copy that works, needing to have copy that works, but then also, frankly, like, not necessarily being able to work one-on-one with the copywriter all the time, because that can be costly and time intensive as well. So ResponsiCon 2022 is, in these loving people in the room who hijacked my talk are they were the origins of Shiny Sherpa. Anyway, coming back, Megan, to your question on the.
Wait, you got to pause because it's like another plug. You got to just keep on the commercial response. They really should sponsor our show. I don't understand why they don't. Okay, so we got to keep on this train though. So what happens is when something like that happens in a hacking room, when somebody figures something out, like, hey, yeah, DJ's having a hard time with your audio, Liam. Can you just take out the AirPods? You are very gargly. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you for giving us that feedback. Okay. And if that's DJ that I just emailed 4 weeks late, I'm sorry, DJ, but good to see you. Okay, sorry. So hacking room. So at ResponsiCon, when they figure something out in a hacking room, what Kurt will do is he will package it for next year's ResponsiCon. So like the video scripts, they give you like a fill in the blank ad lib type form, so you can just plug in your words and your business name and stuff like that. That's what happens, I think, also at with the follow-up copy. So now that Liam's kind of hacked this, it becomes available for others, which we love. It's like crowdsourced follow-up copy, which is awesome. With a professional who's like helping us. How are we doing, Liam? Sorry. Now you're muted. You just gotta unmute and let's hear. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Test. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, DJ. Thank you. All right. Of course, we had technical difficulties. It wouldn't have been a live without somebody having a technical problem.
It's okay. Much better.
Okay. Follow-up sequences, Megan, right? That's what we're talking about now? Like
that's what we were talking about. Like, walk us through what an ideal one looks like. You know, email day one, text day one. Like, give me that, and I'm going to take notes.
So for the heavy lifting, which is going to be that request for the estimate, if you're doing in-person estimates, or then the estimate sent, we go 90 days. And can I share my screen? Actually, would that it probably would help if I share.
We're a podcast format, so like we got to just verbalize for this. And that's good. You're a copywriter. We just got to use our words. Just talk it out and tell us what's on your screen.
So go 90 days, and say for the first 9 days, you're striking while the iron is hot. So your frequency of follow-ups is more frequent. So send your email as soon as they request the estimate. Go maybe even 8 hours later with a text like, hey, just in case you prefer text, we're going to make this easy for you. We do texting as well. 24 hours, follow up with another email. Day 3.
And wait, I'm actually legit taking notes. So this is amazing. So what did you say? You said 3 days, day 3?
Day 3, do a text. Then even go like day 5, do an email. Day 6, do another email. And, this even goes back to what you and I were talking about, where like you're the authority on your customer journey. So take it purely prescriptively if you want, but also, again, if you know the journey you want to give them, feel free to tweak this. Let's change day 6, Megan, to a text. And I'm going to give you a little trick. And we mentioned Josh Latimer before. I know he's a big fan of this little trick, but maybe send a text with an intentional typo, and then 5 minutes later, send another text correcting the typo. And the trick that we're doing there is reminding them, kind of interrupting a pattern for that person that's receiving that text. Like, okay, there's a human being on the other end of this. It is a trick, but it's getting them to engage and to interrupt their pattern of, likes pressure washing or is just following up to ask for my business, so you can kind of make it a more human element with that. Day 8, I'd send another email. We can talk about what's in these emails and texts as well. Day 12, another email. And if you haven't noticed, we are now getting a little further along in the sequence. We're letting off the gas a little bit, right? We want to again strike while the iron's hot. We don't want to ghost them, but we're not just being predictable in terms of when we're going to end up in their inbox or their cell phone. Day 16, a text message. And I'll just jump ahead. Day 16 is right around day 16 is when it's like, hey, so-and-so, doing my best to make sure you have all the information you need to make a well-informed decision. What have I not addressed yet? And now you're not even asking them for a reply. You're assuming they're going to reply. And that's a way to get them to engage there. Day 23, email.
You're making me feel really anxious now. Like, I know I asked for this, but now I'm like completely overwhelmed. I am not going to write a 90-day email sequence and text sequence. Like, this is, I'm literally feeling like the anxiety come up my like, no, my list is too long. But fun hack, I'm just gonna spoil it. You wrote it for me, didn't you? And then I just had to put it in a response book. So I actually just bought this follow-up sequence for 90 days because I have no time or interest in writing it all out. I feel like you probably have like a handout that you've been trying to show us that we could share in the Facebook group that will keep taking him through all the way to 90 days. But I'm just going to stop the millennial in me, the impatient of me is like, just buy it so that he does it, or like lock yourself in a room for a weekend and do it yourself. That's totally fine. But you're going to keep going like this, emails, texts for 90 days. And the cool thing about working with somebody like Liam and Shiny Sherpa is that they've already done the thinking for you. Like, you don't need to think about what day and when. Like, just follow the form. It's a formula. It's a formula that will get to conversion. Just follow the formula. And I did a fun live in ResponsiBid last week with Jill's office, which I saw you were catching up on the other day, and you're leaving all your comments. Add human components here. So if the human component is a voicemail bomb, dump one of those in. If the human component is having your admin call them and follow up, dump one of those in. Like this, don't be afraid of picking up the phone and calling them. They asked you for a bid. They want clean windows. They want clean house. And they're busy and their lives are noisy, and you just got to figure out the right way to cut through the noise. Does that make sense? Am I on the right track?
Yeah, 100%. They'll be grateful that you followed up with them. Like you'll have made it easy for them to cut through the noise because they don't have to go and like, if you get them on the phone, like they want you to follow up. So do that.
You're doing them a service. They asked you for help and you are fulfilling their ask by helping them, by getting them all the way to the close. Okay. Michelle is off mute, which means she is ready and antsy, but I'm not ready. Michelle, 1 second. Can you talk about the just emailing our list in general? Like they want to hear from us, right? They bought from us once. We paid for that lead. We made that connection. We were warm and fuzzy. We followed up with them. They gave us money. They trust us. Hopefully we did a good job. They like us. Why are we so afraid to email them? Like, what is up with that? How do we get over our fear of emailing our list?
You really just have to do it. You just have to do it. And if you have a database,
professional advice, just do it. That's what Liam says. Liam says you just got to email them.
But to do it, like, here's some tips to do it right. So if you've got your database and you've not been marketing to them, or you've not been messaging to them, a great way to get them like warmed up, so to speak, and kind of refresh that list before you start sending customer nurture emails or marketing blasts with special offers. Send an email that says, hey, make it tongue in cheek. We're finally getting with the times. We need to be doing more emailing. We know that. Before we start just sending you special offers and cool, great information that's going to be helpful to you, we understand you may not want that. So if that's the case, unsubscribe here and make your call to action to actually unsubscribe. Don't just like hide it in the footer. And that'll be a good way to clear out the dead wood. Maybe people who have left your market, they don't live in the area anymore. They're not interested, whatever. But just like what we did when Tay and I were talking about that first email on the request for in-person estimate, now you've also set up an expectation and given yourself permission to message to them and given them permission to opt out of it, with that as the big call to action. And so I think, Megan, that comes to your point about like, we're so afraid to market to our database. Well, now you've told them what's coming and you've given them an out. So now you're free to communicate, right?
That makes me nervous. Like, we worked hard for those email addresses. You're telling me to just kill them all, but I get it. The quality of our list will be better. The engagement will be better. The experience for us as somebody who's emailing that list will be better because we're not going to get the angry ones. Like, you got to be brave for one email. He's going to say for 3 emails, right? Be brave, encourage them to get off if they don't want to be on, and then go back to your happy place with your tribe of raving fans.
And this is a good time to bring up the fact that the average return on email marketing, and this is global across the planet, not industry specific, but average return is 4,200%. So $1 spent, a dollar spent is $42 made. Now, how I don't have the data in terms of how that segments specifically into the home service industry, but the point is you've already spent the money getting those email addresses. If you're not messaging to them, you're missing out. I've got one client we did this summer in July. We got we cross-sold holiday lighting to his pressure washing customers. 4 emails made him $300,000 in about 6 weeks. So, and I would love to say, or actually I wouldn't, I'm really excited to say that I don't think that's an anomaly. I think that speaks to the power of the marketing, of the messaging. So
wait,
yeah,
and I obviously have to beg anybody listening to this to please reach out to Liam and tell him, build the thing that Megan asked you to build, because it's going to help us all. So he's done follow-up. Now we need him to create like regular engaging content around home service so that we can educate our customer base and we can not be salesy. We can serve them. And so I've told him, like, I will pay him a monthly subscription and mine can be the same as 100 other people's. I don't care. But I want content that I can get in front of my customers on a regular basis. And I hope that Liam's the one that will deliver it for us. No pressure, but just putting totally on the spot. Because I want to show you, like, everybody will pay for this. I've been begging Tay for like a year.
I was going to say, it sounds like she's asking you for the newsletter she's been begging me for a year.
Love it.
At least a year. I do have to brag also. My open rate for MailChimp is over 50%. Like, my customers love hearing from me, and it's a giant list, right? And Liam's not saying spam them. Liam's not saying alienate them. Liam's not saying scare them away. Liam's saying serve them. They want to hear from you, and you're actually letting them down by ghosting them. I love that expression of ghosting.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Michelle, I feel like I got my way, and I basically hijacked Liam's thing to spin that into, please write this for us. And I'm going to pass you to Michelle, and she's going to talk all about systems.
Hey there, Liam. So I'm listening, and I do not have ResponsiBid in my floor coatings business yet. Don't tell Kurt. I'm working to get it done, but I don't have it. Shh. And there might be some listeners out there that don't have ResponsiBid. What other platforms can you give us an insider view into that might be beneficial to plug your work into? What other platforms?
Chirp. CHIIRP. Chirp. And here's why I love Chirp.
Okay.
Here's why I love Chirp.
Give it to me.
Chirp can be standalone, but it also integrates with awesome other systems, including ResponsiBid. So Kurt and Ryan at Chirp work together. Yeah.
Okay.
But my clients and I, when I first started really digging into home service industry, we had this huge pain in the butt problem where, like, we would have follow-up sequences, and then we'd be doing, say, some marketing emails out of MailChimp. Sure. But this system, that system, and then if somebody takes the call to action and they get a quote on your marketing email, well, then you manually turn them off for the rest of the marketing campaign because they're getting a follow-up sequence, and it was an admin nightmare for my client's office. Chirp solves that problem. With Chirp, you can send a marketing email, and it has, you can build in the rules so it knows, okay, Michelle went and got a call to action and got a quote from this marketing email. Turn off the email marketing campaign and turn on the quote follow-up sequence.
So move her from one bucket to the other, right? One bucket, one lane to the other. Okay, got it.
It does text, emails, voicemail bombs, and then it integrates, like I mentioned, with not only other like CRM type systems, including ResponsiBid, but also some, I think it's dope marketing for postcards. So point being, I would, like, I'm telling everybody I know about getting onto Chirp as a way to solve that problem. Because I think, coming back to the life of a business owner, do you want to have to go do you want to have to go and manually figure out that Megan got a quote? Let me turn her off here. Tay still gets the marketing campaign. Yeah. Go check out Chirp, CHIIRP.
Okay, beautiful. I think Megan put the link in the notes here. So, there it is right there. Beautiful. Sounds like we might need to have Ryan on the show. He sounds like an interesting cat that's created something like this. So
Ryan's pretty
cool.
rad. Yeah, he's got a good team too. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so that's the techie part and the systems part. When we put all your information together to have you on the show, we put a little bio together and it talks a little bit about your background. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of us right now are aware that the economy may be changing. There's still a little bit of uncertainty out there. Talk to me about how your background, you've had bankruptcy and some misery and some challenges and dysfunction in your life. Tell me how you used that to like rise above, because some people might be feeling a little bit stressed and some of that dysfunction sometimes comes back when we're stressed. So just tell me a little bit about your journey, because I think a lot of people would love to hear like how you came around the corner on that.
Thank you for bringing that up. And Michelle, you're so sweet. I love that you didn't want to say alcoholism, but I'll say it, like just drinking is a part of that.
Okay.
So writing was my passion going way back. And I'm going to give you like the very short nutshell here.
Okay,
I went
beautiful.
off on a different path, doing a corporate career that I was miserable with, ending doing like IT consulting. But I was always trying to figure out where to fit writing in. And in 2020, my client, where I was an IT consultant, laid off all consultants because of COVID. I had all this debt that I didn't really sign up for. It was a combination of spending too much money on booze, and honestly, I trusted the wrong banker. I'm accountable, but like, let's call a spade a spade. He wasn't dishonest. He was just a knucklehead. Anyway, so because I was unemployed and I was in a situation I didn't want to be in, I researched, and I'm still drinking at this time, by the way. I researched the pros and cons of bankruptcy and what made sense. And I decided to just overcome the discomfort. And I think what we're really talking about is like icky, uncomfortable feelings, and how do you just kind of like push through that or overcome those. I said, okay, I don't like the social stigma. I don't like the fact that I feel like a failure with this if I file bankruptcy, but it's the right thing to do. And I just went ahead and did it in a way that it was strategic on my part to do that. Now I'm continuing to drink at this time, and it was shortly after I filed bankruptcy, Michelle, that because I was unemployed. Like I was if people aren't familiar with the term high bottom drunk, low bottom drunk, that's referring to like your bottoms. Like an example of low bottom would be somebody who just continues the cycle of drinking and ends up living out of their car, they get divorced, whatever. I was high bottom. I was always able to function. I wasn't drinking like at work or in the morning or anything, but I was always like planning my week. You know, even when it came to working out, I was like, well, I'm going to drink red wine. I'm going to drink a lot of red wine. You know, I mean, so point being, I was a high bottom drunk. I was very functional. But then when I'm unemployed and I can't go get a job because I want this bankruptcy to go through, so I needed to stay on unemployment, I was drinking all the time because now I didn't have the responsibilities to kind of keep my behavior in check. So looked in the mirror, acknowledged reality, and said, okay, what do I need to do? So I went into AA. I talked to the one guy I knew who was in sobriety and recovery, and just started rebuilding my life to like do what I wanted to do. So I stayed in the work that I didn't want to be doing, but it made sense strategically. Like, so I actually planned, now that I was sober, I could plan out much more clearly what I needed to do to get to where, okay, how do I make a living and spend my time writing and be happy, as opposed to kind of attached to like the material success of being an IT consultant and all. And FYI, nobody really, I don't know if I can say this, but nobody really gives a shit if you filed bank. Nobody who is worth their salt cares from a like
nobody knows. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every time I talk to somebody about bankruptcy or about alcoholism, like I've never had somebody like give me like the like raised eyebrow. It's always
Aw.
been, I've got you, right? And
Yeah.
I will connect, I promise, to this world of copywriting and how I got going here, because I think it is relevant. But for those people going through a tough time right now, I think if you can be in my experience is, if you can be vulnerable and open up to people, like, more people want to help than not.
Yeah. So good.
And I like, forgive me if I tear up here. Like Tay, I'm going to go full like Kurt Kempton on stage. But
I love it.
there's this parable that a lot of people in AA hear, and I'm going to be like tweaking this for how I remember it. But the story is a guy falls into a storm drain. So he's down there in the storm drain and he can't get out. And he sees his lawyer walk by. He's like, hey, help me, I'm stuck down here. And the lawyer, everything's a nail to a hammer, right? So the lawyer just kind of writes him some legalese, a contract, and throws it down the drain. Like, here you go. And the guy's like, what the hell? Like, that doesn't help me at all. And the lawyer carries on his way. The guy in the storm drain sees his doctor walk by. Doc, help me get out of here. The doc writes him a prescription and throws it down the storm drain and carries on his way. Like, he's still stuck in the storm drain. His priest walks by. Father, help me out. I'm stuck in here. I can't get out. Priest is like, oh, just say a few Hail Marys and do this and confess your sins and you'll be good and you'll be out of the storm drain. Father carries along his way. The guy's still stuck in the storm drain. The guy's buddy walks by. And he's like, buddy, okay, come down here. Help me get out of here. I'm stuck in the storm drain. I can't get down. And the guy jumps into the storm drain with him. He's like, you fool, what are you doing, man? Now we're both stuck down here. And his buddy just goes, I've been down here before. I know the way out. And leads him out. Sorry.
It's so good.
And so my experience with like the sobriety and the bankruptcy thing is like, I had people who got in the storm drain with me, but I'm going to connect this now to the copywriting and all that. So fast forward, financially, I've got runway. I can go into copywriting. And I leave my IT world. I go to do freelance copywriting, and I start getting jobs really fast, which really surprised me. And I got introduced to Melissa Walker and Kurt Kempton. So for those who don't know, but we've already talked about Kurt, Melissa Walker, Bobby Walker's wife. Melissa Walker is an amazing event coordinator. So she coordinated ResponsiCon, and also the huge event this year, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm going into this world of copywriting, and Kurt and Melissa are like, okay, cool. We need the hacking rooms. We need somebody to write the emails. And I was just like, cool, I'm game. You guys are clear what I said, right? Like, this is a whole new metric. Like, oh yeah, like you got this. And the biggest example, like of the guy getting in the storm drain with you that I have and I'm jumping ahead just in the interest of time. So Kurt, for those who don't know Kurt, like there's not a kinder, more generous person on the planet than Kurt. And Kurt kind of signed me up for not only doing hacking rooms, but also of those hacking rooms, 2 of them being kind of presentation like a couple months later. And I got on the phone with Kurt. I was like, Kurt, once again, like, I'm new to this whole world. Are you sure you want me actually like teaching something? And he was just like, Liam, you have a voice. You're worth listening to. He was like, I speak all the time and I still kind of go through this anxiety. And I'm still surprised that people want to listen to me, even though I'm CEO of Responsa did. You've got this. And what do you know? This is one of those talks where everybody hijacked my talk and it turned into this business that I have now.
So great.
I think the like embracing the discomfort and embracing the vulnerability, and I hope I don't sound like too much like an expert because I'm still early on in this journey, but I think for those of you going through hard time with the economy, whatever it is, like don't contract, don't constrict yourself, like open up, because there are people who will get down into the storm drain with you.
I
I hope
love
that.
that. I love that. No, that was good because it was really people-y, and Martha would have loved that part. So we just segued right into her section. So thank you so, so much, Liam. I absolutely love it. I'm going to throw us back to Tay, and she's going to
Well,
give us some
I
stuff.
want to
Megan, give me
I want
something,
to
please.
interrupt for a second because I feel
Yeah.
like this gift of vulnerability, this gift of imperfection, this like showing up, like it's so timely. I think that we are coming out of some hard times, right? We're coming out of COVID, then we're coming out of the Great Resignation. Now we're coming through whatever this recession is. And we are all, as business owners, we're fighting, like that's the whole point of Fight Club, right? We're fighting a lot. And the point that we're not like this point of connection, that by being vulnerable, we can find people that have been through that storm or who are going through that storm. And we used to say every week, and we haven't said in a long time, but if you're listening to this today, like this is your reminder and sign that you're not alone, that there is like an entire tribe of people around you going through similar struggles, the same struggle, a different struggle. They've been through that struggle. They're going to go through that struggle tomorrow. Like we are all very connected. And I feel like that was just a really powerful way of showing up for our audience and saying, it's okay to be a mess sometimes. And it's okay to be going in. It's okay if you're in the drain. Like if you're in the drain, it's okay. There are people around you who are willing to get in the drain with you. So thank you, Liam, for being vulnerable. And to our listeners, like, it's okay. Like, you're going to be okay. And we're here. We built this Fight Club to help you fight. Like, we're here to help you fight through that storm drain. So we haven't talked like that in a long time, Liam, but thank you for that.
That's great.
Thanks, Megan.
Okay, Tay, you're up.
Awesome. And I just threw a good audio book into the chat as well. And it's The Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown. It's a great one that you can just be able to listen to in the car, listen to on the way to work, or listen with your family. I mean, being vulnerable is something that we need to teach our children, need to teach anyone that we can be with. So hopefully that's one that you can connect with today as well. But as far as homework,
I gotta interrupt again. I'm sorry, but Jeff and I literally just watched her TED Talk on this like a couple of weeks. We needed to do something brave as a couple, and like we were really having a hard time figuring out the right way to do that. And so we like put it on the TV and we watched it. It was 20 minutes, and I feel like I'm going to throw that link in the show notes also. But if
I'm already trying to find it.
Yeah, if you need to get some courage, like if you need like a little, I've been saying this a lot lately, but get brave, be brave. You don't have to be brave for long, just real quick. And Brene Brown's really helpful, I think, about, and listen to Liam's story again. Listen to how vulnerable he was and how this beautiful thing has come out of it. Shiny Sherpa. It's a shiny object. I love it. Okay, sorry, I'm going to stop interrupting. But as a couple, like we just watched that like 2 weeks ago.
It's very empowering. Well, as far as the show goes, we're at the point of homework. And at this point, Liam, we like to ask our listeners to really put into action what they've listened to with you today. And what we ask of our listeners at this point is to just choose one piece of homework. We are about to give you 3 to 4 pieces of homework. That is a lot to accomplish within 1 week before next show. And we want you to be effective. We want you to put this into action, and we want you to move the needle forward in your business. So as far as homework goes, Liam, you're more than welcome to give some at the end. We'll kind of go around first from our segments, and then you are more than welcome to add an additional piece of homework once we get to your spot there. So marketing homework, it's pretty simple this week. If you don't have a follow-up process, please start it. If you do not have something in line, we need to start moving forward and adding that into your business. So you need that. Your clients need that. Your sales need that. Every aspect of your business will benefit from this. So Liam said there's a couple different ways we can start by doing this. First of all, we do want to start by mind mapping this out, be able to have a structure that you can work with prior to building upon those follow-up emails and text messages. He did talk about Chirp a little bit. So there's a lot of things that you might need to re-listen to the show to really put this into action. but setting up that follow-up sequence is so crucial, and your clients will thank you.
I love that. They're going to thank you. And I'm going to just be the millennial that I am and say, just go get Shiny Sherpa's follow-up sequence instead of getting the anxiety of writing it yourself. And I heard a rumor that Liam is giving our listeners a big discount with the coupon code FC number 4 letter B, Fight Club for Business. I think it's like 20% off. What? I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yes.
Is it 20% off? Okay.
20% off.
Yeah, 20% off. And basically, here was my thought. If one, okay, no, I'm gonna lie, because it is priced appropriately. If I book 2 extra jobs, it pays for itself. So 2 jobs.
Ooh.
So it's not a cost, it's an investment. Based on our average ticket, 2 jobs is all I need. And here's the thing. I wrote my follow-up sequences 4.5 years ago. So I fully intend to plug this in and then not touch it again for another 4 years, right? So that is what I encourage you to do. And all you need is 2 jobs to convert from it to make the money up. So your homework is to just go get the Shiny Sherpa follow upgrade packet and use our coupon code to get a discount on it. I know you're going to say something else, but I have to give him a second homework. And that is, because I'm the worst, I don't follow my own rules. Please message Liam and tell him to create some evergreen content for our clients so that he will build it. All right. Thank you. I'm the worst. Go ahead, Liam. You can interrupt or chime in there.
No, thank you, Megan. I just want to clarify too. Right now, the follow upgrade pack is specific to the pressure washers and window cleaners out there. Don't yet have it available for some of the other industries. Next up is the holiday lighting, but I just don't want somebody who's in HVAC to go buy the sequence when it would require.
Like, just plug and play, carpet cleaning, maid service, lawn care. Like that's what find and replace is for, Liam.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Do it, but just know you're signing up for a little more homework on your part if you do it. But I just wanted to clarify. Sorry, Michelle, I think it's your turn.
No,
it's okay. It's okay.
We do it all the time. But I do think that if you're not in the pressure washing, window cleaning industry, I think that was good. Thank you for showing your integrity, Liam. You're going to have to customize it for your clients. But in my head, we need to customize it for our clients anyway, because it's our voice, right? Like our relationship, we want to be warm and fuzzy. And so I fully intend to use this like as putting my follow-up sequence on steroids, but we're still going to put a little bit of a personal spin on it. And Liam might be like, you're not supposed to touch my copy, but he can't argue.
And your systems homework is to check out Chirp. It is a secret super ninja trick that I am learning about more and more, and I want everybody to go check it out. And then your people homework, I loved. Thank you, Tay, for sharing that audiobook. I would love everybody to take a moment and think about how they can be more vulnerable in their business. It feels a little bit scary, but honestly, it does pay back amazing benefits with the relationships that you can build. I know I've had a few freak out and run around moments with the ladies here on this screen, and they are closer to me for it, hopefully, and I know I'm closer to them for them being there with me. So I know that that's important for us. Hopefully that will make Megan or Martha proud today that we did a little bit of people-y stuff while she wasn't here. And then we always ask how, Liam, we can get a hold of you. So how can we grab you if people want to know more?
And if you want to give homework, feel free. It's completely up to you. I feel like we might have hit almost everything, but
we did.
The homework I would have given, you guys took care of. So thanks for making that very easy for me.
Beautiful.
Liam at shinysherpa.com is how you can reach out.
Beautiful.
Or Facebook as well. Liam O'Day on Facebook.
I love it. And we always end with a quote, Liam. And so this one I think is fitting for today. And it's by Brene Brown. You're welcome, Tay. Vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. And that's really a good synopsis of what it really is. So I love that one. Mic drop. We can mic drop after that. Thank you all so much for joining us today. And thank you, Liam, for hanging out with us for this last hour. We appreciate your time. And everybody have an awesome day.
We'll
see you all next week.
Tuesday. Actually, we're skipping next week. We should make sure we notate that. We are dark next week. We do have quite everyone but me will actually be at a work retreat that they're going to for their businesses. So we will be dark next week. So The
That's
next
right.
show, let's see, is
Including Liam. Liam will be there too, right?
Oh,
Nashville?
Liam, you're coming to Nashville?
Yeah, he's in. Oh, he's not coming.
I
Oh,
am, I am in the BBB. Here's what I did recently, guys. I learned this language. I've sold myself into an operational problem. So I might need that time back next week to just get stuff done and get organized. So
all right. I'm calling you as soon as this live hangs up. All right. I'm going to call you and give you a talking to.
Oh,
We'll see everybody in 2 weeks on the 27th. Yes.
sounds
All
good,
right.
everybody. Thanks so much. Good to see you, Liam. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
appreciate
So
you.
much. Keep fighting.